Before you judge your weaknesses, listen carefully to this story. Sometimes the things we think make us less capable are quietly doing something meaningful that we cannot see yet. What looks like a flaw might actually be creating something beautiful somewhere along the way. This is the story of a farmer, two loyal dogs, and a daily journey that revealed an unexpected lesson. In a quiet countryside village, surrounded by rolling green hills and wide golden fields, lived an old farmer named Thomas. His life was simple and peaceful. He owned a small piece of land where he grew vegetables, wheat, and a few fruit trees. Behind his small wooden cottage was a modest garden. Tomatoes, beans, and herbs grew there, but keeping them alive required water, and water was not easy to get. The nearest stream flowed nearly a kilometer away, winding through a small valley filled with tall grass and wild shrubs. Every morning, just after sunrise, Thomas walked down a narrow dirt path that led from his home to that stream, but he never made the trip alone. Two loyal dogs always walked beside him. The first dog was named Max. Max was strong, calm, and incredibly steady. When he walked, his steps were careful and balanced. The second dog was named Buddy. Buddy was energetic and cheerful, always curious about everything around him. Birds flying in the sky, rustling grass, or butterflies passing by often caught his attention. To help carry water from the stream, Thomas had built small wooden frames that rested gently across the backs of both dogs. Hanging from each side of the frame were clay pots filled with water. Every morning, Thomas filled the pots at the stream, and together the three of them began the slow walk back home. Max always walked with perfect balance. His pot stayed steady, and not a single drop of water spilled along the way. When they reached the farmhouse, his pot was always completely full. Buddy, however, struggled. The dirt path was uneven and sometimes covered with small stones. Buddy occasionally stepped awkwardly or became distracted by the sounds of nature around him. When that happened, the wooden frame would tilt slightly. Water from the pot would splash gently onto the ground. Drop by drop, a small trail of water followed Buddy along the path. By the time they reached home, nearly half the water from his pot had been lost. This routine continued every day. Max proudly carried his pot without losing a single drop. Buddy always arrived with his pot only half full. At first, Thomas never complained. He simply smiled and continued his routine. But Buddy began to notice the difference. Each day he looked at Max's full pot and then at his own half-empty one. Max stood tall and confident, while Buddy quietly lowered his head. Over time, Buddy began to feel that he was failing. One morning, while walking back from the stream, Buddy slowed down and walked behind the others. Thomas noticed immediately. He stopped and turned around. "What's wrong, Buddy?" he asked gently. Buddy looked up with sad eyes. His tail moved slowly. Even without words, Thomas understood. Buddy felt he wasn't doing his job well enough. Instead of responding right away, Thomas said something unexpected. "Buddy," he said kindly, "on our way back today, I want you to look carefully at the side of the path where you walk." Buddy tilted his head slightly, but followed along. They continued walking along the dusty trail. The early sunlight spread across the valley, and the morning breeze moved softly through the tall grass. As Buddy walked, he began to notice something he had never paid attention to before. Along the side of the path where he usually walked, flowers were growing. Bright yellow blossoms, small purple flowers, soft white petals gently swaying in the wind. They stretched along the path like a colorful ribbon decorating the countryside. Buddy looked again more carefully. On the other side of the path, where Max walked every day, the ground remained dry and bare. When they reached the farmhouse, Thomas carefully removed the wooden frames from both dogs. Then he walked back toward the path and picked a few fresh flowers. He placed them in a small glass jar near the doorway of his cottage. The bright colors filled the room with warmth. Thomas knelt beside Buddy and smiled. "Did you notice the flowers along the road?" he asked. Buddy wagged his tail softly. "I planted those seeds many months ago," Thomas explained. Buddy looked at him with curiosity. "I knew you sometimes spilled water as we walked back from the stream," Thomas continued. "Every day, the water that splashed from your pot watered those seeds." Buddy's ears lifted. "Because of you," Thomas said warmly, "those flowers grow every day." He pointed toward the path outside. "They make the road beautiful. I bring them home to brighten the house. Sometimes I give them to neighbors to make them smile. Thomas gently patted Buddy's head. If you carried the water perfectly like Max, those flowers would never have grown. Buddy looked out toward the path again. For the first time, he saw it differently. Every drop of water he thought was wasted had actually helped something grow. Something colorful. Something beautiful. From that day forward, Buddy no longer felt ashamed of the water he spilled along the path. Instead, he walked proudly beside Thomas and Max, knowing that every step he took helped bring life to the flowers lining the road. And with every passing day, the path became brighter and more beautiful.